right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another week of Cheaper Than Therapy podcast show. It's your boy Roland, aka Roll Nice. And today again, my co-host Jordan, aka Breezy.
What's going on, everybody?
Today we're gonna talk a little bit, about what's going on. I don't have any recap or follow up facts this week, but we're gonna start out a little bit talking about Super Bowl. So we're gonna start there. Congratulations to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs on winning Super Bowl 58 and a great game against the 49ers. Now, Jordan, correct me, you a 49ers fan, right?
No way.
Okay.
That's my brother.
Oh, that's right.
I'm a Bengals fan.
You're a Bengals fan.
Yeah.
Okay. So, congratulations to them. It was a great game. Came down to the last minute, overtime, and I guess they didn't save us from the Swifties like everybody thought they was gonna do. We had to deal with 8,000 cut twos of Taylor Swift, it is what it is. Her and Ice Spice, and who else was up there in the booth with them. But
man, shout out to Ice Spice for taking advantage of the opportunity, man. That was huge major. Like, I don't follow her. I don't know. I know she is, of some celebrity status or whatever, or entertainer, but that was amazing for her to have the the up here. I don't want to call it common sense because it's not common, but just the business sense to put herself in that position. Because do you understand that there were bets in Vegas on how many cuts she would get? The over under was 10.5. I don't know if she hit it or not, but I know I saw at least 10.
Yeah, I saw more than 10 cuts of Taylor Swift, especially with that game coming down to the last minute. Now, Ice Spice, as far as I know a little bit about her, I think her father's a big wig in the hip hop industry, a producer, a writer, or something. There's been rumors about her being an industry plant, but we ain't gonna get into all that. But I do know that I heard that her father or her mother, somebody's a big wig in the hip hop community. That's how she really got on at the end of the day. But Super Bowl, again, was a great game. Overtime. Chiefs won 25-22. If you wanted a conspiracy theorist, they say they wanted Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce to win so they can, flood us with the Swifties. But nonetheless, me being a sports fan and trying not to think about that, it was just a good Super Bowl all in all. Now, Jordan, you got anything else on the game itself?
I mean, it was a great game. One takeaway I do want to address, because like I said, we do handle us as a people. Steve Wilks was untimely fired. Held Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to 19 points in regulation. But go to overtime with one of the greatest, if not the greatest. I'll let you all debate that. And now he has been relieved of his duties as defensive coordinator in San Fran. I know a bunch of San Fran fans, and they do hold the same opinions as me. We will definitely have comments in the email address, which Roland will give you at the during the show. That's one thing I want to talk about, but that's not a topic of discussion. We have some other things to address, but we will move on. You go ahead, Ro.
I'll take a second on that. With the untimely firing of African American coaches in the NFL or NBA, that's a big thing, even in all sports across the board. But we're gonna touch on that subject another day. The biggest thing that bothered me outside of that after the Super Bowl was what happened during the parade in Kansas City. Now, Wednesday was the parade, and I didn't know until I got home Wednesday night that there was a shooting at the parade, the championship parade for the Kansas City Chiefs. 22 injured, 1 dead, and 11, I believe, if I'm not correct, were children. So, That's a big thing for me. One thing I promise I never do is use a lot of profanity on this podcast. But I gotta say this: what kind of fucked up individual you are to shoot kids? Now the story goes that they were kids themselves that did the shooting about some beef that they had, but 11 kids were injured. Um, some were critically injured, some sustained life-threatening injuries, some minor injuries. But out of 22 people shot, 11 were kids. The one person did die. I'm not sure if that was a child or not. But and I reached out to someone I know that lives out there in Kansas City, and the comment I got from that person was, "Oh, that's normal. That happens a lot out here." And I'm like, "Really? Like, it's normal for 11 kids to get shot on a daily basis? Man, what are we doing?"
That's tough there now. I mean, normal. I mean, I guess because we don't come from those areas, Rose. So, I mean, I'll hold judgment on that. But what I will get into is per the APnews.com. 2 juveniles were charged with the crimes connected to the mass shooting in Kansas City at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl rally. Per that state, no further information has to be released. Defendants age 17 and under in Missouri are typically educated through the juvenile system. Like you said, 11 people, 1 dead. From what we know,
well, it was 22 that was shot.
22 shot. 11 with children.
11 with children.
The AP News stated that, I see it here, they say more than half, or at least half. Mm-hmm. So at least 11, like you stated, children. Big shout out to that children's hospital that treated everyone, young and old. Very appreciated. I just look at it, Ro, as how it's always been with children nowadays. It's attention. Attention is a hell of a drug. I'm not saying that a person went out there to take it to that length at that situation, but listen, juveniles, you took a firearm to a public meeting and you discharged it. Regardless of what skin color, there should be no leniency. But for some reason, if there is an issue with skin color, there will be leniency. And that's just the world that we live in. To actually go to a parade and then have a disagreement with someone that at that point in time, it comes to gunfire. Even blows, it's just, there's no way around it. There's no way to tolerate it because it's at some point, you still have to blame the parents, but you know what you're doing. You were old enough to get the gun loaded, bring it with you, have a problem, bring it to that setting, and then, have your issue. But prayers out to the families and everyone involved. Hopefully you all find peace and, justice within the system.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. When it comes to juveniles doing things of that nature, it's uncontrollable. Now we done seen, we done been part of seeing, people having beef in the street, kids and adults. But I just don't understand why you take it to such a public place to resolve. 9 times out of 10, you know the person you beefing with. You live down the street from them. Why do you take it to the utmost public forum to resolve that issue, especially with firearms? If you can't fight it out, especially being a teenager, that's all you should be doing is throwing bows to end that discrepancy. No gun should be involved at any point in time if you're 17 and under.
That's not the culture no more, though, bro. It's in that, and we'll get into that more in our topic for this evening. But that's not the culture, and that's why I tell people like you have to be in these kids' lives. Like I don't understand how you can put nothing into something and expect something out of it. You don't teach them morals. You don't teach them right from wrong. You don't discipline them. You allow the school system and society to handle and adjust your child as they well please. And now they know the system because they're taught the system early and they know how to play the system. You cannot diagnose yourself when you were growing up, bro, and when I was growing up, and most of our listeners, we cannot diagnose ourselves as depressed. We cannot diagnose ourselves as having these disorders and times have changed. Hell, people don't even get smallpox no more. Times have changed. But at the same point in time, there's a level of adultness that needs to go on that's not happening. And what happens is because you're not raising your child, because you're not in their lives. Like I don't have any children, but I'm in all of my nephews' lives. As far as my nieces, as much as they'll allow me to. But my nephews, I got 3 of them. They know I don't bullshit. Every day is accountability. But I don't raise them. I deal with all of them differently.
Because they all got different personalities, so you do have to.
You have to. So, like I said, but you're giving me that answer as a good parent. I know people who will refer to their son as a real nigga. Come on, man. Like you're explaining your child to me as something that's glorified. Like I said, we're going to get into in the next segment, but something that's glorified that really and truly has a small percentage of success, but it's the same thing. We'll get into that. But as far as with that, man, there's just no to me no place for it. But
I agree. That there was a lot of small kids, parents, families. I don't know the exact number how many people were in attendance, but I'm pretty sure it's something like that.
Affected for life. Traumatized.
Exactly. I saw the news coverage, and the sad part was it was on NFL primetime. It wasn't on ABC. It wasn't on ESPN. ESPN did a little banner underneath the bottom while they talking about the draft and the GOAT conversation. And I'm like, that should have been on ESPN from the moment it happened, nonstop. It shouldn't have been on NFL primetime, which most people don't have that channel in their cable selection. So if you wasn't watching NFL primetime, you didn't know that event took place. Or in other parts of the country. I'm pretty sure in Kansas City they knew it took place, but
yeah. But that's a money grab. That's a media thing. That's control. That's something we would never in our lifetimes control. We don't own distribution. We don't own studios. That's okay. For instance, if you have a negative moment at work, would you broadcast it?
No, generally no.
Okay, so but because we're dealing with humans and humanity, we think that there's supposed to be something different that happens. Yeah, in the poor community, yes. But in that community, no. If, it's like you say, trauma. But they'll spin it both ways. They'll make it seem like, hey, we don't want people to have to remember that. We're not sweeping it away, but we don't want people to have to remember that. But you know what it is. It's not, it wasn't newsworthy to them. To us, yes. To them, no, because when it is newsworthy, they'll break live action and they'll go live. But, that's, like I said, that's a whole nother thing in its own. So,
all right. So I agree. So we're gonna transition to something that's kind of related but not. So the other week we started talking a little bit about a story about Madison High School in Houston, Texas. Students walked out over a new cell phone policy that was implemented by administration stating that no student can have their cell phone with them, that they had to turn it in to the office at the beginning of the day and they would get it back at the end. Now, students protested and walked out about this new cell phone policy. Due to that, they're saying that um, they just found it to be wrong. And the administrator saying, well, they're trying to control fights and violence and guns. And the students are just like, no, we can't lose all our cell phone privileges. What if something happens to my mother, my father, or my sibling at another location? Um, it's I understand certain things about kids having cell phones at school. I wasn't a big fan of it when but my son had one for emergencies. Like, yo, like if something pop off, shooting, or you need me to come get you, and they dragging their feet, because we all know school administrators don't always act with a sense of urgency at all times. So, with them walking out, which is their constitutional right to protest, um, you know, why would you take a child's cell phone? Now, I understand why they're in class, unless they're using it for work, which I know now the schools give most of the kids tablets and laptops or notebooks or whatever. Unless they're using it for something learned in class, they should not be on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, etc., any kind of social media. So I understand it from that standpoint. But to take it away from them in full, where they don't have any access to it in the event of emergency, I'm not necessarily feeling that. What do you think?
Well, I was actually going to ask you, like, because you have been a parent of a child in high school, and we come from the same era. We didn't have that luxury when we were in school. I graduated in 2004. I know you graduated way ahead of me. No pun intended. So we didn't have that need to have that device. Now, it today it almost seems like a necessity, but every con that they had, I had a pro for it. It's just like, if your mother gets sick, yes, someone's supposed to notify you through the school.
But
you,
okay,
one second, Ro. But like, we can get straight to it with a school shooting. Your child calls you and tells you there's been a shooting at the school. You're going to the school. You're going to do what every parent does. Then you get there and impede the police from doing their work because you know you're not getting into school. You know this. And like I said, easy for me to say, I don't have a child, but I have plenty of nephews and nieces. There's nothing that I can do for them by going up there. I can live it out in my head that I'll go out there and shoot the bastard or whoever he or she may be. But once that's happened, I won't be able to get within 100 yards of that school. Now, being out there is a God-given right. You're supposed to do that. But as far as that being a reason to have the phone, for instance, my nephew is not allowed to take, I have 2 nephews in school. One nephew is not allowed to take his phone to school. His mother checks it in every night, 10 o'clock. You get it when you come back home. Every email from the school or the district, every phone call, she gets to her phone, she reads them. They don't become spam. So when it's time for her to be notified about anything, she's doing her job. Now, I have another nephew. They don't have that issue at their school, but he'll text me. He and she will text me from school. And I'm like, yo, why are you texting me? Do what you need to do. Holler at me at 3 o'clock. That's me. But their school doesn't have an issue with the policy. My thing is, as a parent, Roland, 1, what do you want them to do? And 2, where were you at? Where were the parents at when this decision was being made? If it's an issue, walkouts, that's cool. That's your God-given right, constitutional right. Call it what you want to call it. But where where do you get into a situation where it's this decision was made without notifying the parents? If the parents are now backing the actions of the student.
I assume it got to that point because, like you said, there's two type of parents. There's the parents that are involved in every step of their child's life or everything they do, and then a parent that tries. Not necessarily bad parents. Just parents have to work, so sometimes you can lose touch in what your children are doing. So there's those parents that then there's the third parent. I'd say three times who just don't care, who just let their kids do whatever. Now, I guess assume they got to that point where kids are on TikTok and Snapchat, Instagram, posting reels while they're in the middle of class while they're supposed to be learning. So I assume it got to that point where kids are actually taking phone calls in class from not from their parents. So I understand it probably got to that point where that high school had to make that decision. Now, like you were saying about the active shooter, if my child calls me and tell me there's an active shooter, my biggest thing is like, yo, all right, go find some place to hide and get off the phone because you don't want them to hear you, and turn your phone off or turn it to mute. Just those 20 seconds to tell him that could save his life. Yeah, would I go up there? Yes.
Yeah, we know you're going.
But
we know you're going.
Trying to impede the authorities, no. I that's something you can't do because then I'm make the, like you said, make the situation worse. But I'll be there. So when it's over, let's go.
Understand.
So, it just, I don't know about taking it from them in whole because, sometimes I look at high school students. That 17, 16, 17-year-old, they could be a caretaker to their parent. Their parent could be at home sick. And they need that communication. And not saying that the kid should be on the phone all the time. But, there's times I've tried to call my son's school when he was still in high school. And getting through wasn't always the easiest thing.
Understandable.
Either someone on the phone or they have no idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, that's why it's a double-edged sword. But, for me, taking it away from the kids altogether, it just really, you have to, and it's tough to, I guess, say cherry pick and nitpick who you do it with and who you don't do it with, because the teachers and administration, they know who their problem children are. They know the ones that don't follow the rules with it, and they know the ones that do. It's just a mess. I mean, it was great to see the kids exercise their constitutional right to protest. That's something that's positive, that they know that they have that right to do that. But I'm kind of in the middle on whether they should take these phones from these kids or not, because sometimes you can't use the one bad apple spoils the bunch mentality, because each kid's situation could be different. What if that 17-year-old could be a licensed driver and has the car, and the parent at home sick, and that parent calling them like, hey, I need you.
Well, I tell you what Dorchester County does. When they lock the school down and your vehicle is there with your child, you will wait. Now, I'll dispatch 20, 30 more, rookies who don't do anything out here just to have patrol cars to lock you up. But this is what I'm saying. I have a nephew and a niece who, the example that you give, they live that life. They are caretakers for their parent. Whenever they need to, I don't know what the policy is, but at their school, phones are not an issue. But for some reason, whenever they need to, like if she's contacted by her parent, she can go to the school, go to the office, and be dismissed properly. And like I said, I don't know what the policy is, but that'll be another conversation. The second part of what I asked you is what would you recommend doing? Because it's got to be a safety issue. Because everything that I'm reading is about a safety issue. Because these kids The school system, the school district has gone as far as to say is that, and this is per ABC13.com news, they've gone as far as to say, real nice, these kids have said that they have been patted down when entering the school. And I'm like, hey, listen, now, if we're patting down for the threat of weapons, yes. But if you're just specifically looking for a phone, I find that egregious. But like I stated, I don't know what's going on in the schools. There has been a lot of reported fighting in the schools, a lot of videotaping of unwanted information or things that the school does not want you to see. For these same reasons, they have relocated some of the administration and faculty. It has to be bad. I've never been to a school board meeting, but like I said, as a parent to a child who's been in high school, in the cell phone era, we already saw the pros and the cons. How would you fix that?
Man, patting down children, man, that's a big thing. That opens up so many doors to so many other different problems. Like you saying about, when people that are in that situation I talked about, if everything's going through the proper channels through administration, then so be it. Long as it's going through the proper channels. I just have a problem with just arbitrary, like taking the kid's phone. Like I was watching the video, they were, before they saying good morning to the children, they're telling them, give me your phone.
It's a job. That's their job.
And I understand that and I respect that. But what happens is if you're not even greeting the children with any positive energy, good morning, hey, I need your phone. You know what it is. That's a different way of saying to say, hey, give me your phone.
But Ro, this is the thing. We've been in those school systems when the teachers and the administration genuinely cared about us. And we had people who would flip them off just because. Now it's gotten to a point where I'm employed to do what they ask me to do. We're not talking about when Mr. Brown asks Jacarion or Javon, said, how you doing today? F you. Like, we don't want to discuss that. So now, like I stated, that's out of the window. I have a job to do. If it's my job, if my employer is telling me to pat, my employer tells me to pat people down at the door. And one second, real nice. My employer tells me to pat people down at the door. When people complain about me patting them down at the door, he stood on business. He said, hey, don't no pistols come in here. Don't no weapons come in here. So now my employer is backing me. If you're telling me that they've had school meetings about addressing this concern and the parents didn't go, and now they're at a point where they're being pat down, and we know the Pandora's box of where we could go with that as far as other things, but this has already went through the school district. The superintendent is on record of giving this information out, and I've yet to see a parent complain. So, like I stated, what do we do to resolve that issue? Because it's not 50-50 no more. It's not the days of I raise your child for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. It's not that no more. They're underpaid. That's a whole nother conversation. And now, with this new era, you've taken their authority away, because when you come to the school, not you per se, but when a mother or a father comes to the school, before they can understand what's going on, they're already choosing sides. Which you're right. You made that child. If you want to take their side, take their side. But when it was time to stand up for these kids at the school, where were the parents? Like I said, these are things that were voted on. You can't pat my child down and I don't go to a school board meeting or go to the district myself and demand answers. We went through this whole thing, Ro, and there were no parents in here that were concerned. These were all students that are making their own decisions. So then again, I ask, if we can't be 50-50, how much leeway do I give a child to put your child in danger?
I agree. I understand that standpoint. it's just I'm on the standpoint of if we're trying to, that's the biggest way I guess we can correct these issues where, you know, communication. I think it boils down to communication because we can take it to the level of how we want our police officers to handle us in the streets with a certain level of respect and courtesy. So if we got to expect the same thing with the way they handle our kids every day. Now, yes, I agree. There's gonna be those kids that don't come back with the same level of respect, and I do put that on parenting. But you know, you and I both went to public school. It's not a large majority of the kids that are so disrespectful and so ill mannered. It's a small bunch, so you gotta deal with them accordingly. But I feel like you have to. It's almost like customer service. You got to treat every customer the same. You got to come to them with the respect, and the more you come to them with respect, the more it comes back. Even eventually, those unruly kids are gonna start to see the error of their ways. You know, we watch Lean on Me, Joe Clark. Eventually, you treat these kids with a little bit of respect. I understand they don't need to be doing some of the things with their cell phone, but you gotta treat them with a little respect. Like I said, you can't just, hey, give me your phone. First thing you see them, hey, how you doing, ma'am, young lady, sir? How you doing today? All right, you know what our cell phone policy here is. I need your cell phone.
Well, Roland, you know, just like I know, if we're talking about the Joe Clark Day, the person that made that statement is the one who causes the problems.
Yeah.
Me and my wife were doing a middle school. We were doing a chaperoning. I can't remember. We were doing a 360 gig, or we were chaperoning. They saw a child there. Oh, don't even drop him off. And I'm thinking they're playing. Oh no, don't even drop him off. Get back in the car. These are the resource officers. They're stopping him from getting dropped off at a party, at the school. Don't even get back in the car. It made them take him back home. Because, like I said, when I saw it, he's the one that goes to school every day. And I went to a teacher and confirmed it. He goes to school every day and causes the problems. So, the report of that person giving you that, we know what's going on. When I, hey, how you doing? Yeah, you got your phone on you? All right, turn around. Like, you could be having a bad day coming to school. Yes, I'm supposed to be sensitive to that because you're a child. But when you make me take that portion of my life out of it and come here for the paycheck and the benefits, then there is a standard that you should send your child to school with. We are not sending our children to school with that standard.
And that's why I say it falls back on parenting. Because, I mean, you can't, if your child acting out like that, there's something going on at home. Who knows what that may be? That's why communication. For them to force them to take a child back home from a party before even letting them out of the car, that's a long-standing problem that someone didn't address.
Exactly. The parents.
But then also, I also say the school, because sometimes the school don't always contact the parents. It's, oh, we're just going to put you in school suspension, or we're going to put you in detention, you know, without even contacting the parents. So, I mean,
that's BS real nice. Because I've been that child, and I've been that uncle. That's BS. Like I tell you, with the exception of one time, I have a nephew. His mother gets every single so-and-so missed class today. He was late to class today. She gets every one of these. And this is Florence County. So I can imagine what goes on in a county where the superintendent's making $200,000 and $300,000 a year.
Okay, I get that point. That point.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's on both of them.
I agree. Like I said, I'm not saying this.
But to close this up real nice, you still haven't given me what you would think is a viable option to allow the safety of the kids and to still possibly allow the set. What could we do to stop them from taking the cell phone away? It, what idea do you have?
I mean, when it comes to that, like I said, going through the proper channels with administration, if you need to have a cell phone for emergency, that's one. Two, like I said, that's where the communication comes in. I mean, you gotta talk to these kids. You gotta talk to these parents. Parents need to reach out to the schools more, figure out why have we gotten to this point. I mean,
PTA meetings, stuff like that, school district meetings, school board meetings.
And then with these meetings, sometimes I feel like the schools have them at the most inopportune time. You can't have a school district meeting on a Tuesday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon about a serious topic like that. You just can't. And I'm not saying they all do, but that's not the time, because guess what? What's going on Tuesday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon? We are parents.
Work.
They're work. Try to have them on Saturdays. I know some parents work after 5, 6 p.m. Try to have it on a convenient day. Or what about these teacher work days that you let the kids out of school? Let's have it then.
Well, gotta stop you right there. That's what I'm telling you. I watched a active parent last week on a teacher work day go to the schoolhouse for 4 hours, met with every teacher, every coach, every administrator that dealt with her child.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm saying. It's on the parents. It's you are given a 17, maybe 18, 19. We know some people who can't get out the public, but you're giving a 17, a 18-year-old back on down to a 13, a 14-year-old when you're in a high school. The choice of obeying the rules. The rules are set in fairness to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
When your mother or father allows you to go in that school district, like I said, that's the parent. You can't sit there and allow a child to be grown until it's time for them. Well, I can't say that. If you choose to let a child be grown until it's time for them to be a child, then who's the adult?
Agreed.
So that's what I say, like, all of that, in my opinion, Rose, it's horseshit. It's just, and it has nothing to do with single parent families, single mothers, single fathers working. Listen, if you have to be somewhere for your child at 12 o'clock, if it was a dentist appointment, you would go. If it was a doctor's appointment, you would go. I don't see plenty of parents scheduling doctor's appointments on Saturdays and Sundays. You would go. This is your child's education here. This is a farm system for either being your own person or the penile system, which we're going to get into when we start our topic.
Okay.
So that's just me, real nice. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but
you good.
It's just it's come to a point, man, where it's like the Houston Oilers, the Houston Texans, their old owner, Bob Robinair, whatever his name was, stated during the kneeling, you guys are going to let the prisoners run the prison? He called his employees prisoners.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that's the because I'm a sports buff, that's the way I look at it. You're letting the person that you provide for tell you what's best for them. And now we have a situation where kids are being pat down to enter the school, not for weapons. The article said nothing about weapons. They're being pat down for cell phones. And to me, it's due to lack of parenting and lack of parental guidance. I feel you.
I respect that. I respect that point. I mean, I do agree. The parents do need to step up. I do, and for me, it's tough to understand certain things coming from. I was that parent that was involved and made sure my son did. So I don't know too much of the other side, to be honest, but I do feel like communication is the biggest key, from the parent to the child to the parent, and with school. I mean, sometimes I know you say they send the emails and the text messages. I mean, it's always there's always, you know, three sides to every story. But I mean, I feel like the ultimate solution is people coming together and communicating and working out a solution. Because if the child's hiding something, or the parents too busy, or the school sometimes just like, I mean, I understand the purpose of the emails, but I mean, you know, you got parents that work jobs where they can't have their cell phone. So it's I feel like more communication. I think it got to start there.
I'm gonna say this in closing, real nice, because we got to move forward. If that email was from the IRS or your banking institution, you would find time on your 15-minute break to address it.
Yeah, I mean, that is a parenting thing. I agree.
Like I said, that's a parenting thing. That falls back on the parents. Doesn't apply to everyone, but parental guidance. That's what both of these first two topics stem from.
All right, so moving on. You know, I'm gonna play a video, and I want you guys to listen before we get into it. Hold on 1 second.
See, I had a lot of comments, and I said that about Jay-Z and hip-hop altogether, but it's true. You name one goddamn good thing that's come out of the hip-hop culture, I'll wait. Is it the enormous amount of people that have gone to prison trying to live that lifestyle y'all rap about? How many people gone to prison? How many people?
Sorry, my iPad's acting up, guys. Sorry about that, guys. I'm having a little technical issues with my iPad.
You good, bro? I can feel the man. Basically, a gentleman
Of Caucasian.
Did a reel or a whatever stating that there's nothing positive that came out of hip hop in its illustrious career. Not sure how long hip hop has been along. It's got to be something like 50 years. He's saying that besides Jay-Z, there's nothing positive that's come out of hip hop. He went on a rant about just telling about how we're trying to be drug dealers and criminals, and we're trying to pack the prisons, things of that sort. So, real nice. I want to get into it very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and let you get started. How do you feel about that?
All right, so you're right, Jordan. We are at we just celebrated 50 years of hip hop. It was big on all the award shows last year. Hip hop is like everything else in this world that we consume. It has its good and its bad. And it boils down to parenting, because I listened to hip hop my entire life, from Run DMC up until the last.
When did you stop? Camera? When did you stop?
I probably stopped after about T.I.
T.I.?
Once the
2008, 9?
No, I'm probably just gonna say once your Futures and stuff came, probably about 10 years ago, I kind of fell back on hip hop. Once your Futures and your Yo Gottis and your Lil Babies started to drop, I kind of fell back off of hip hop.
Gotcha.
But even nonetheless, you know, I'm Tupac, DMX. Trust me, Tupac and DMX. Some of their lyrics weren't the best of, you know, most positive and enlightening.
Hail Mary.
But at the end of the day,
I ain't a killer, but no pushing.
That's it. But my parents kept me grounded. I mean, my father, God rest his soul, used to listen to DMX with me because he from School Street, where we're from in Yonkers, New York. You know, the first time my father heard Hit 'Em Up, he looked at me and was like, he sounds angry. And I was like, yeah. But I mean, my parenting, my parenting, my parents kept me grounded that no, I can listen to this, but I don't have to live that lifestyle. You know, I grew up in Yonkers, New York, on School Street, where DMX is from, Jada Kiss, Lock, Styles, Peace. I mean, I didn't have to live that life. You know, I moved from up there when I was 10, but I didn't have to live that life. No one has to live that life. You can find your way out.
Yes.
Some is harder than for others, but my parents made it easier for me. But I still listen to hip hop. I mean, Cash Money, No Limit. I never sold a drug in my life, but you'll see me sitting in my car talking about moving pounds, listening to OJ the Juice Man, a quarter brick, half a brick, old brick. Hey, but at the end of the day, I knew who I am and what I'm made of. So
You never trapped before, Roller?
no, I couldn't. I couldn't do that. I always worried about the disappointment to my mother, and more so than anything. Believe me, I considered it. When that money gets low, sometimes you consider it, but I never went there. No disrespect to people that had to. You got to do what you got to do in this world sometimes, and we didn't put these drugs in the community, so that's another story for another day.
True.
But hip hop has created positive things. They have created millionaires on, I mean, that's good and bad, but I feel like the man, with him being a Caucasian, God, I don't want to go into a whole big racial thing. For him to give his opinion on that, I think it's skewed because probably his daughter or his son possibly listened to these lyrics around him and he disapproved. Now,
You got that right.
it's up to him to say, hey, this is entertainment. I watched Commando growing up. I watched Arnold Schwarzenegger kill 250 men with 2 rifles and a rocket launcher, and I loved it. It cheered for it. But that don't mean I went out there and did it because I knew better. It's for entertainment. Now, we lost 2 of the greatest rappers in the history of rap because people took it further than entertainment. Unfortunately, but then you hear stuff coming out about that now, but nonetheless, hip hop, good, bad, or indifferent, no matter how you feel, has been a positive, giving young black men and women an outlet to tell their stories, good, bad, and different. You know, like Tupac said it. I'm telling you my story about what I see every day. You don't like it because you think this ain't a part of America and this is not a lifestyle that you get to see. But this is what I gotta live every day. So I mean, yes, some hip hop artists have tried to live that gangster life and that dope boy life and that drug dealer life, and it has cost them their lives or their freedom.
And that's the ones that's trying. No, he said trying, which is one of our, one of our issues with, because there are pros and cons to everything. You know, hindsight is always 20/20. So that is one of the problems. We have people out there trying to live a lifestyle that they never had to or never needed to.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I've seen violence. I've seen people shot. I've seen it. But again, that don't mean I had to live that. I mean, like I said, we watch movies full with violence for entertainment purposes every day. But I'm not a mass shooter. So when we listen to hip hop, like I said, the good, the bad, I mean, DMX, one of my favorite rappers, always rapping about robbing people. But then at the same time, it's the same man that on every album he did a prayer that brought people to tears. So you can't really say everything about hip hop and its lifestyle is bad. You know, it started from breakdancing. Like you said, hip hop, that's how we didn't stab or kill anybody. If you watch Breaking or Electric Boogaloo, if you had a beef with somebody in hip hop back in the 70s and 80s, people think it was a joke. You had a dance off. There was no gun or knife play. You.
I wish a mother, I wish a ninja right now would have beef with me and come break dance in my face. I kick. My bad. Go ahead, bro.
But I mean that people think that's a game or it's a joke, but that's real. Like if you had
Real life.
two gangs in the club that didn't like each other, they would just start breakdancing, and whoever won, you got the respect, and you kept it moving.
And got the women.
And got the women.
Stanky, sweaty, musky. Like them boys from town say, nanny up. You get the woman.
Hey, go watch Breaking 1 and Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo, and you find out really what hip hop was. That's really what happened. You didn't throw bowls like that. You had dance offs.
Yeah, you did a spinneroonie, not an elbow drop.
And you know that inspired a culture of fashion. That, not to be funny, that people of other races have culture vultured themselves into.
So real nice. That's what I wanted to get into with this guy. He's mad because his son or his grandson or his nephew or his little cousin, he wants to be a gangster rapper. Not even a gangster rapper. He wants to be a rapper. That's why he's mad. Our culture is like we are the culture. It's not a culture. We are the culture. We are what they push on TV. We are what they push on the radios. We are what they push in fashion. We are what they push in food. All of that. It's us. It's that culture. Now, at the same time, just like with the Tyler Perry situation, these distribution companies, these studios, they're not paying for positivity. They're paying for buffoonery and coonery. And because some people don't see nothing wrong with making a legitimate dollar. And that's based off morals, so that's subjective. Some people think that it's okay to go do whatever because it's acting. Like when we were growing up, our rappers were rappers.
Lyricists.
I'm just going to be straight positive with you. And Solomon, once he hears this, he's going to tear me down. Tupac was an actor. He went to drama school.
Exactly.
He embraced the thug mentality to alert the world of what you have created. He was not a thug. Tupac's from Baltimore. But he's got the whole West Coast riding with him. So, like...
But he was dangerous. And from a standpoint
he was dangerous because the media made him dangerous.
No, what I mean by dangerous is because his message was positive and very pro-black. Not from a standpoint of I kill you, I stab you, I sell drugs. But when you listen to Tupac talk about the conditions of black people and the conditions of the power structure and how they keep us down, he was dangerous to them in that standpoint. That's why, because how many men you know can shoot 2 off-duty police officers and get away with it because he was protecting another African-American brother. He was dangerous to them because his message. He was dangerous to them because songs like Brenda's Got a Baby, songs like Dear Mama, it wasn't just your hit 'em ups and your negative stuff. He put out real positive messages.
But that's my point. Once he got the money, they wouldn't allow him to be positive no more.
Well, I don't think it was then. I think back then when it was Tupac and Biggie, it wasn't about not letting them be positive. It was about, okay, people are starting to follow this positive message. So let's end it. Because, I mean, you had positive rappers from Kool Moe Dee, Run DMC. You had them all. In the beginning, it wasn't a problem. In the 70s, 80s, 90s, you had KRS-One, Public Enemy. It wasn't a problem to be
And once these, it wasn't a problem to be positive
Until
we
people
know that.
started following.
That is correct. Until people started following, and representatives and private landowners realized that they could have this music is so influential. If we turn it negative, we can have you break every law that we can lock you up and make money off of your back for little or nothing.
Agree.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so now in hip hop, you've created a culture. The people who control it, and like I said, these are not humanitarians or philanthropists. These are business owners.
Yes.
Black trauma makes people money.
Agreed.
All colors.
Agreed.
All right. So now, once you put a person in a spot where they can profit off of your wrongdoing, they can get you to go buy the album and get you to go into the jail system where they get cheap labor out of you. They charge you for everything. You go in there and spend $1 for one pack of noodles, where you can get 9 of them for $1 on the streets. So now the influx is on everything. So they put like Denard said, they shoot the gas to everything, and that's because they know. Dog, do you know that even though we're less than, I think we were like what 38%, 30% of America. 30 or 40% of America, we spend 3 times the amount of every other race.
We are $2 trillion a year people.
So now we have shown them that we are profitable. Now you got a person who's never lived this life and never wants to escape it, who will come out here and lie to you to make it seem cool because these white people, these bigwigs have seen how, and I take it back, it's not white people. Anyone who's in the business, they've seen how influential this is, how much money they can make from it. So now, yes, it does look like nothing good comes out of it because we go to jail, because we commit crimes. But here's the thing, that white community, that other community, they commit the same crimes. But for some strange reason, I decided to go and look it up. The National Institute of Justice posted its 2023 incarceration rates by race and sex. Do you know that all men over the age of, all white men over the age of 18 are locked up at a 1 in 106 rate? And black men over the age of 18 are locked up in 1 in every 15. Now, that's the incarceration. Check this one out real nice. That's the incarceration. So we can agree, per the statistics, the nij.ojp.gov, you can go look it up, fact check me. They say that we, at some strange rate, for some strange reason, are incarcerated at a faster rate than any other race. The second race was white, so that's what we focused on. It was Hispanic as well, but you know what we want to play it. You know, white paper with black words on it.
I mean, and I feel like that's when we talk about the school to prison pipeline. Prison is just legalized slavery still, and that's even in the books. Slavery is legal once you're in prison. So yes, they found something to lock us up for. But
check this out real nice. Even though they lock us up, we don't stay, per the Federal Bureau of Prisons, a statistic that was updated on February the 10th of 2024, of the people who are incarcerated right now in federal prisons, 57.2% are white, 38.7% of them are black. So, like I stated, it's going on in their community as well. But you know why we don't know about it? Because it's not profitable.
Yeah.
They don't want us to know that. They don't want us to know the color of 2 juveniles in a situation.
Exactly. Like when it's 2 white juveniles, you don't hear the race until much, much, much later.
And we could be wrong. But history always repeats itself.
But when it's two black juveniles, two African American juveniles were arrested today under the age of 17. That's the headline news. But I feel like we're under attack through hip hop now, because with the male rappers, they tried to lock us up, get us to kill ourselves and lock us up. It really didn't work. I feel like now, because that didn't work, and like you said, because of those statistics that we're not as incarcerated as high as white, now they're attacking our black females. Now, people may not gonna like what I got to say. There is no need for Sexy Red and Glorilla in this world. Not saying they should be killed or taken out. That's not what I'm saying.
Didn't say that.
Their rap should not be allowed. Now, not saying to violate someone's freedom of speech is a slippery slope, but that music is attacking our black women, because they finally realize that black men are strong enough to withstand anything you throw at us. But now if you attack our black women, the women that reproduce our boys and our girls, the women that are raising our boys and girls, if you attack them and their stability and who they are and take down their credibility and their integrity, now you got a real shot at shutting us down.
But bro, it's the same. In my opinion, it's the same principle. These artists have grown up and they've seen what is profitable.
No, I agree.
There are no more MC Lights. There are no more Queen Latifahs. Outside of them, like, this is the thing. Megan Thee Stallion can actually rap. Whether she writes her own material, I could care less. She could actually rap. If she wanted to come out and rap about something other than, just sexiness and raunchiness, I could listen to her because she can rap. Cardi B, like Nicki Minaj, these are people who they rap to get where they are. But now you have this new age coming in. To me it seems pathetic, but at the same point in time, she could have had an OnlyFans. She could have been a mother of 3 with an OnlyFans. Like, she could have been out there working on a corner, not going to parent-teacher conferences. Like, too much is given, much is expected. But at the same time, these people who control this have made this a situation where Sexy Red song, she didn't even fake it. She didn't try to use any colloquialisms for booty holes or vagina. She's telling you out the gate what's going on with her. And it's so simple that anyone, even the children, can pick it up. And these media people know it. That's why they push it. But yet again, if we come back to the parenting, when you were growing up, Crucial Conflict was out when I was growing up. My cousin had the tape.
Smoking hay in the middle of the bar.
Brought the tape to my house, played it. My mama said, "Hey, give me that tape." I said, "Hey, I know you're going to throw it away. I got to go give somebody back their tape." Go to their house. They are bumping it in the house. But right then, my mama let me know that everything that I was processing was not approved, was not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
So when I found out what the hell hay was, I know I can't smoke no reefer here. I know I can't get caught with no reefer. Just now, it wasn't even that. It was the cursing. So, like George Carlin said, there's 7 words that you can't say on national TV, and I'm going to teach you all 7 of them. I knew those 7 words at an early age. I knew where I could use them at. I know where I couldn't use them at.
And now you can say those 7 words on TV now.
Correct. So that's why I said, but still, it comes to it's the parent. It's how a person was raised. If they don't respect honest, I'm not going to call it honest, non-honest, because she ain't robbed nobody. She ain't breaking no rules by making that raunchy music.
Well, let's backtrack. Cardi B. So Cardi B openly admitted to when she was a stripper to drugging, raping, and robbing men. Openly admitted to it on national television.
Mm-hmm. No backlash.
No backlash. She's a hero. Now she's a mother of 2, and she's a hero.
But guess what, Real Nice?
Bill Cosby allegedly slipped something in someone's drink 40 years ago, and at the age of 80, he spent 2 years in prison.
Well, Real Nice, I'm gonna tell you as my great attorney would tell me. There's no statute of limitations on rape or sexual assault or misconduct. That's the law. When you operate within these guidelines, you're gonna have to adhere.
Then why
Now,
Cardi B is not in handcuffs in prison?
because it does not benefit them to lock Cardi B up for that when no man has come forward with accusations.
Agree,
But one second. But at the same time, Rick Ross was in a situation where he rapped about giving a girl a Molly, and they took his whole verse off of him. But guess what? Who controls that?
the legal system, in my opinion,
No.
because
No. The legal system should control it, but the media controls that. I've seen stories there was a story about Dwight Howard and his personal life before the last one came out about the guy.
yeah,
This was a known transgender woman, or man, a known person. Stated Dwight Howard was having affairs with her or meetups or connections with her. It lasted 2 days. He was on the Lakers. He was on no rolling. Listen,
no, I mean,
he was on the Lakers. When he was in Atlanta, when he was in Houston, all that other dumbness came out. It just came out. But when he was on the Lakers, your LeBron Lakers, when he was on the Lakers, it lasted 2 days. It's control. They have the ability to control what they want to. Because we feed into what they give us, why is there a need for change? Why is there a need? My daddy used to always say, hey, it may be hard. Life may be hard, but it's fair. In all fairness to the game, you know that we don't have a chance in this world. You know that. As a black man.
But that's why there is the need for change, because if a woman, not saying we should lock people up, but taking black men out the home just because a woman said something, it is terrible. But if you can't hold that woman accountable to those same exact standards, now you already created the breeding ground for women to know they can use this system against us, which tears the family apart.
That's the whole part of the system.
And agree, but but if we start holding women accountable, maybe it changes them knowing that they can use the system against us. Maybe the system won't be so detrimental to us as a whole, as a people.
How will you change a woman's mind to not go to a system that allows her to live in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhouse for $40 a month?
But
no.
I'm not talking from the standard
But
child
you're
support
saying-
and section.
No,
I'm talking about
the system. The system. All of the systems were designed to take the black man, not the white man, not the Indian, not the Mexican, not the Asian. The systems were designed to help the white and take the black male out of society.
and I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that.
When those same systems give a person a more affordable life and a more accommodable life, we as black men, it happened because we failed to take control. In the 60s and the 70s, most of our speakers and our educated brothers were self-educated. You know the stories. We know people didn't go to school but up into 8th grade, hold down a job their whole life. Mm-hmm. Now, you got people go through 12, 13, 14 years of public schooling and can't go to McDonald's and get a damn double cheeseburger rack with non-diced onions and shivered onions. This is where we're at. But hold up, Roland, because you're talking about the system. Now, saying...
But I'm not just talking about the system. I'm talking about us as a people, because we as black people, didn't even hold Cardi B accountable for what she said. But we are holding R. Kelly accountable for what he did,
because
allegedly.
there's no attention in Cardi B doing that. You want to know why R. Kelly and all these men have these problems? The same reason why P. Diddy's having these problems. You don't have the money to fork over no more. When the checks start coming, dog. What's the young lady name? The girl, she always pulls her breasts out doing her performances because she lacks actual talent. The girl that R. Kelly founded. Kelly
Spark?
Not Sparkle. Damn, not Sparkle. She's what's the girl name? She had the fake butt. She had to take the butt out.
She was married to old boy that was beating on her.
I don't know about
What's her name? Not K. Michelle.
K. Michelle. K. Michelle says she has been to R. Kelly's house and seen the mother and the father of the 17-year-old over there cooking dinner before they release her to R. Kelly for the night. She has been there with R. Kelly and seen parents spend the night. She knows what R. Kelly is doing is wrong. That's why she said she would never talk about it. She would never testify. She said she knows what R. Kelly is doing is wrong. But the parents who had the consent and the authority were signing their children over to this man as a predator. Now, when R. Kelly stopped making money, I ain't gonna say he broke, but when he decided to stop paying those people, they one by one, they lined up. Just like with Bill Cosby. I'm not saying Bill Cosby is a totally different situation.
Well, they went after him because it's something about this house that he owns in Philly that sits on a large oil reserve in Philly. They're trying to bankrupt him to get that house, that piece of land.
That may be true. I heard it had to do with him and the NBC thing, so.
But what I'm saying is, Joe, we got to start holding everybody else as a people accountable, because if they keep putting us against each other, we're never going to elevate.
That would never happen, because when it works out for you and not for someone else, it works out for you. You're not going to say, whoa. I'm not going to take this $2,000 because there's a person who's less fortunate can have it. You're not going to take your tax return and just go and give it to someone who it could possibly change them. You're not going. That's accountability. We as a people, I know, I can speak for two people who won't do it.
But I'm talking on the criminal stuff, not necessarily. I know the systems are different. The systems are the different type of systems and program, but this legal stuff is the biggest one for me. I understand we're never going to change certain people's mentality on about getting Section 8, food stamps, whatever. But like I said, if you're going to lock a man up for doing something, you better lock a woman up for doing the same thing. But money to be in society. And I agree.
But the thing is, Real Nice, these are the people you vote for. This is the country you live in. When we used to work at Spectrum and Verizon, I used to always tell people I train, control your controllables. You can't control how I'm going to react. Control how you react or how you act. You know, when you live in this country for about 15 years, what it is and what it ain't.
Mm-hmm.
You going to have to make a decision. Go to another country. And that's that Real Nice. This is really what it is. Black men, we have no other country we can go to and thrive in. A white man can go to Asia right now and become the next Bachelor on ABC.
I mean, I won't say that necessarily. I mean, I know big things are happening in places like Ghana and Nigeria for black men.
Would you move there right now?
I mean,
no.
Hold on.
No.
I'm about to give you a straight up and down answer. That is something I literally researched and considered. If I could have found something that allowed me to work from home or find a job, Jordan, I shit you not. I did the research on the cost of living in Ghana when they was like, Ghana is offering free citizenship to black males in the U.S. I looked up rent, utilities, possible job opportunities. It's something I really considered because
Bullshit.
no, I'm dead ass. Like it was like the fucking
You ain't leaving your son.
no. I mean,
so we can stop that.
no,
right
hold on.
No. You're not.
What
you're
I'm
not
talking
leaving-
about,
you're
what I'm
not
talking
leaving your
about,
son.
at being the point to where my son is this self-sufficient man, where like once he graduates college, or if he wanted to come, so be it. But my point was, once he becomes his self-sufficient own man, the thought has really crossed my mind to get the hell out of the U.S.
The question was yes or no, would you leave? And we've been talking for 2 minutes and you haven't answered.
But again, there are circumstances that keep me here.
Yes, you're not.
But like I said,
we know for a fact you're not leaving. I know for a fact because one, your son, two, your sister, your family.
but
No. The question was, Roland, this is how it works. Ask me a question. No matter how egregious it is, ask me a question. Yes or no
I
question.
mean, I get your standpoint.
We've been talking for 2 minutes and you had not given me.
But there are circumstances that keep me here.
Would you go?
Yes.
You would go.
If I didn't have those circumstances that kept me here,
So you wouldn't go.
I'm not saying I'm not going. What I just said to you, seriously, when my son becomes his own self-sustaining man, it's a real possibility. Because what I'm doing here, I could do that from Ghana. What I'm doing here, I could be a real estate agent in Ghana. I could sell cars in Ghana. What I do here in the U.S., it's because it's like I'm looking at the trajectory of what American society is becoming, and I'm like, I mean, am I going to be doing that bad over there? Am I really going to be doing that bad over there? If I could pay all my bills off $1,000 a month and live happily over there, am I really doing that bad over there? Just because I'm over there in a thriving city with, I mean, you can Google this. What I stay in now over there in Ghana is $400 a month.
I've Googled it for Bali.
So I mean, it's not it's not a no for me. It's just
It's a maybe.
It's a maybe.
Okay.
Would I walk away from my son while he right now when he still
No, you
needs
wouldn't.
me? No.
No, you wouldn't.
You know, hence why I tell people when I moved back from Charlotte to Columbia, it was because my relationship with my son was becoming strange because I'm 3 hours away. So I made a decision. But he's becoming a self-sustaining man. So once he gets to that level where he, not saying doesn't no longer need me, but where he can sustain and he just calls his father to tell his father he loves me, and that's the end of our conversation, and top it up with me, I may not need to be on U.S. soil.
Damn, your son get to tell you he love you? I could never I told my dad I love him one time, and nigga hung up the phone on me. Yo, what?
I mean, I understand that because that was not something me and my dad did a lot, and but more so it happened more so coming in his final years on this planet. But growing up, you know, yeah, like if I told my dad I love you, you might like, what? But so I understand that, but but you know, I try to do that with my son because his circumstances outside of being with me are not up to the par I would expect them to be. So I try to make sure he knows I'm right there. I got you. Don't even stress about whatever. Just know your father loves you, because I know there are people around him that would tell him different.
So real nice. What type of music does your son listen to?
My son listens to well, he used to listen to Polo G and a couple of little, you know, they love Lil Baby, and I'm like, I can't stomach Lil Baby. But, you know, he listens to that. I mean, he tries to, me and him try to have those conversations about what he listened to. You know, like, I had to check him, like, a few years ago we went to Atlanta, because all he had Lil Baby and the rappers talking about Atlanta and the Lennox Mall. And I'm like, all right, you want to see what Lil Baby talks about? All right, we in the Versace store. How much money you got? $20. Okay, game buy a keychain out here.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you like this, cause we gotta close this up. I like Little Baby. I listen to a lot of Little Baby music. I remember we went down to Atlanta for the Super Bowl, and we bumping on one of the Little Baby mixtapes. He got a song on there called Pure Cocaine, and it's that, and he had another song I can't remember right now, and we're trying to find this Super Bowl party, and me and Trey G together. So, Little Baby has a song where he talks about the bandos, how they go down these roads that are dead end streets. They got abandoned houses on each side of the road. They go and buy the abandoned houses or just accommodate them to trap out of. So we pulled down the street. Now me and Trey G, we bumping the music now. Bumping it real nice. I'm talking about got that minivan, got the bass turned up in that bit. We bumping that hoe. And we pulled down this street and we popped. And Trey G was like, hey dog, I went half on this rental, right? I was like, yeah. He was like, hey, well, I want my half to go ahead and take me from over here because this ain't what it is. I said, what that? He said, dog, this is bullshit, and now it's bullshit. This the bullshit Little Baby be rapping about. And I look around, and you just see people, you know they trapping out the houses. It's a one-way street. Now, Little Baby does talk about the hustling, but he talks about the robbing as well. So at that point, I realized I wasn't that much of a Little Baby fan. But when it's catchy and the media know that you pick up on it, that's what, like I say, what it all stems from. Our perception is negative because that's what fills the pockets. So
But
we have had a lot of great people come through. Killer Mike, Ice Cube, Ice-T is successful.
T.I.
Ludacris, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people like 3 6 Mafia.
won an Oscar.
Won an Oscar. You got P. Diddy, regardless of how you feel about him, he can produce music. Who else? Master P.
Man,
So like, there's a lot of positivity that comes out of it, but the people who sign the checks, they won't allow you to see that. They're going to see what's most profitable for them, and it's not spreading positivity. Close it out for us, Roland.
All right, so I agree. We as a people got to do better with our message. Hip hop, I mean, good, bad, or different. You know, we still listen to it. We still love it. We still love our artists. But I do agree that we as a people got to learn how to make better rap and not allow the craziness to get out there to influence our kids in a negative way. Parents, we got to step up. We got to step up. Our kids are our future. If we don't teach them, you're going to see that Instagram video of the 2 and 3 year olds singing Sexy Red on karaoke, hands on my knees. That is unacceptable in any era. Unacceptable.
It is.
So we got to do better. Like I said, not to hate on them people hustling, get their money. But once you get it, and these new artists are smarter than the older artists, they figured out a way to make their own money independently. Once you figure that out, put out a better message. So that's my closing up on that. Jordan, we was talking about the Black History fact. You had a little more insight than I do. It's about Claudette Calvin.
Oh yeah, so this week's Black focus is on Miss Claudette Colvin, born Claudette Austin, September the 5th of 1939. She is an American pioneer of the 1950 Civil Rights Movement and a retired nurse aide. On March the 2nd of 1955, she was arrested at the age of 15 in Montgomery, Alabama for refusing to give up her seat to a white woman on a crowded, segregated bus. This incident occurred 9 months before Rosa Parks. Now, the Rosa Parks situation. Remember, Rosa Parks was the secretary of a local chapter for the NAACP. She helped spark the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott. I've heard about this situation before a long time ago. And as it was presented to me before the whole spat on barbershop, that has been happening to us. Rosa Parks was just the right color. Even though she's African American, if you go look at the pictures, she is a little lighter in color. You do with that information as you may well please. I just know that, like I stated, a lot of situations are based off of color. You still have some places where the lighter your skin, the color of your skin determines your place in society. This should have been something that should have been talked about. Now, as a people, how do you think that would make a person feel that I went through the same thing 9 months before you, told everyone, and nothing happened? Now, you go through the same thing, and we're going to make national headlines of it.
I mean, for me, that's kind of crazy. I mean, considering knowing that it happened almost a year in advance to Rosa Parks. I mean, not saying Rosa Parks wasn't intricate in the movement, but we gotta look at all these situations, even going back before the key ones that we know that we are taught during Black History Month and so forth. So Claudette Calvin was the first. She was born Claudette Austin, but she was the first to do it at the age of 15. Imagine being a 15-year-old black female in the 50s and being arrested because you 15. Didn't get up to give your seat to a white woman. That's crazy. That's woke.
15, bro. Like society nowadays. Think about what a 15-year-old has to go through. They have to go through everything. They have to grow up so fast. And yes, things are different now, but bro, 15? They don't say whether she was coming from school or possibly even work. She was just on a crowded bus and, she was tired. So she didn't want to give up her seat.
And like he said, what 15-year-olds have to worry about today goes back to our story about cell phone. That's what a 15-year-old has to worry about today, whether their cell phone is taken or not whether they're going to go to jail for not giving up their seat.
So this is before we close out, because we did run long on you all again today, and I do apologize about that. Just sometimes when that spirit hits you, you got to ride it.
Facts.
They say that for many years, Montgomery's black leaders did not publicize Colvin's pioneering effort. Colvin has said, quote, "Young people think Rosa Parks just sat down on a bus and ended segregation, comma, but that wasn't the case at all," end quote. So this is what's the most, and this is what I wasn't told back by a great Afro-Indian intellect